Welcome, everybody, to another episode. We are going to be talking about the holidays and what are some tips and tricks to get through the holidays.
The material and information presented here is provided by lived experience youth and for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are of the guests of our podcast own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Youth Move.
Talking about the holidays, what are some things about the holidays that you guys find enjoyable?
Think that personally, the holidays, you don't have to do the holidays the traditional way. I know that we like to think tradition when it comes to the holidays. You buy a Christmas tree, you decorate it, you give gifts, you gather with family. Not saying that I don't do those things, but I think for me personally, not every Christmas or holiday season, I should say, I'm trying to get better at saying happy holidays rather than Merry Christmas because it's definitely more respectful. But, anyways, not every holiday season has been the same for me. So, I think that just keep in mind that if you don't celebrate Christmas, that is definitely perfectly fine. If you want to do the holidays your own way, I think that that's perfectly fine. I just think that it's important that we recognize that. And hopefully, for those that are listening that do not celebrate Christmas, that they don't feel left out. And I think that that's very important come holiday season.
To me, I think the best thing about the holidays is the social events, the get-togethers, like the parades and stuff. I like going to the parades, and I like all the little like arts and crafts type festivals here in Boulder that we have during the holidays. Makes you kind of forget about the traditions and like what you're socially supposed to do instead of like what you actually want to do. And it should be about like how you want to celebrate any of the holidays that you want to celebrate. You shouldn't have to like give gifts to people and do certain things just to celebrate some kind of holiday.
Yeah, kind of breaking that stigma of having to buy somebody gifts or something like that should kind of be minimized because you can always make a gift. I feel like to me, in my opinion, that seems more meaningful than, buying some type of materialistic thing. But the best thing that I would say is making your own kind of traditions, like Cooper was saying, instead of going like the traditional route, maybe you could do like, how in Thanksgiving they do like a Friendsgiving. You could spend more time with your family and friends and, actually be more involved with your family instead of it being kind of like a contest of who can give the best gift, because that's how I've seen it throughout the years.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your point about materialism. I just think that there are many other ways to show appreciation than by giving a gift. And that could even be as simple as saying hello to someone that you haven't said hello to in quite some time. Now, I've already bought a few gifts, so that's kind of a confession. I've bought a few gifts for my nuclear family as of this recording, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. I think that just showing your appreciation for someone, I think that you can put a lot more thought into saying, buying a gift can be a little bit thoughtless. I think people buy gifts a lot of the time for the sake of buying gifts and not wanting to feel like, oh, I'm not that I've somehow done a bad thing by not buying my family these gifts. That's what I mean by buying gifts can sometimes be thoughtless instead of thoughtful. I just think that there are there might be better ways of going about the holidays than just buying gifts. That's just my personal opinion.
You can go for it, Savannah. I saw you.
Yeah, I think that's why I feel like I like the whole social parades and stuff like that, or like get-togethers, because then there's no pressure when you go there to give gifts or anything. It's just to have fun and be around the people you like.
When it comes to the holidays, it seems like it's just a very kinda, like, touchy subject for a lot of people because it's just like they've dealt with a lot of family and stuff like that, and there's a way that you can kinda navigate your situation, which is go within your peaceful means of with the holidays. So, like, if you can't deal with a certain family member, you can set boundaries with your family and friends on, I'm going to be with you guys for this certain amount of time, and then I'm going to spend time half and half like that and stay with that because a lot of the times there is a lot of pressure with your family being like, well, why aren't you spending time with us? You're constantly going with your significant other or you're going with your friends or anything like that, and you should be able to spend time with whoever, and that'd be a good thing to start with the holidays is setting boundaries on what it is that you wanna do with whoever.
I feel like that might be challenging with some people. There's like peer pressure involved with family is like, oh, come to my family thing. And then you go over there and then you don't feel like it's supposed to, because with my family, I just told them like I was thinking about going out there and surprising them. And they're like, you shouldn't come out here just to surprise us like on a holiday. I'm like, why? And then they're like, you don't want to catch anybody off guard. Like, they still hold some kind of grudge or something. So it's okay to not do the family thing, especially if you don't feel like you're supposed to be there and then you go there anyway, even if you are invited. It's like, it's a whole spider web of emotions where you feel detached, but then you still feel connected because it's like, oh, it's your family. You're supposed to do this. And that's what society says you're supposed to do. And that's one difficult thing I had to navigate when I was like younger, like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that. No, no one's supposed to do anything.
Yeah, I second that. There should be no quote unquote expectations around the holiday season. The only expectation that I'd have is that you don't have expectations. I mean, I think that there are people that have much busier lives than we do. And for that reason, we shouldn't exactly be disappointed when they have other events to attend to. But with that said, I mean, I would hope that I'd be able to see my relatives during the holiday season. But if not then there are always other times. There are 12 months in a year. They don't have to be here in late December. So that would be I think that the idea of having expectations around the holiday season is unhealthy because it's supposed to be a time when we're winding down. I mean, why do you think children are off school? Why do you think that adults are off work during the holiday season? It's a time where we're supposed to wind down. So I think that we should do away with those expectations.
Absolutely. So, what do you think of like some ways that could help people relieve some of those expectations of, the holidays and trying to relax instead of being so kind of tense about buying gifts, making sure the decorations are in order, making sure dinner is all in place? What are some suggestions that could, ease that?
That's a really good question because it's definitely not easy to. If I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if I have an answer for that question right now because it's definitely not easy for people to let go of tradition, let go of symbolism because, tradition, it's very, very difficult to let go of. Same thing goes with symbolism. It can be very difficult. I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but if you, for example, have a picture of a family member and it gets ruined, you might feel a little bit hurt by it. But the truth is, it's just a picture, and there are several other pictures of your family members that you can access. that's what I mean by it's very difficult to let go of some things. And if you if you're one of those that really deeply celebrates Christmas, it can be very difficult to let go of those yearly celebrations. It might feel like a part of you dies inside if you do let go of those celebrations. And I can completely understand that, but I guess it's kind of ignorant to say, you got to get over it sometimes, got to try different things. But yeah, I think that it's important that we have to get over tradition and symbolism. But I'll be honest, it's not exactly an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I think that like when people, have those high expectations, they expect everything to be perfect. So when you do lower those expectations and be like, the Christmas tree isn't fully decorated yet, and set out a timeline for yourself to have some downtime where you're not pressurizing yourself, like get everything done at a certain time and like rushing yourself through the holidays as well is like the worst thing you could do if you want to celebrate everything. Like just do it in a timely manner where it doesn't stress you out and where you can just think about like how you're setting yourself up for the day and seeing if your like mental well-being is good and not putting like materialistic things before yourself.
Yes, if there's one expectation, like a legitimate expectation that I'd have, it's that if you're gonna buy a gift for me, you shouldn't break the bank to do so. Your financial well-being is far more important than me having an extra gift. So please don't, I'd say just if you're not comfortable going too expensive, then you shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend going too expensive in any case, but please don't break the bank just for the sake of trying to please someone else, because there are definitely other ways to please someone else.
We've been talking about a lot about the financial aspect of, getting the expectations out of those ways. What are some kind of mental ways that we can relieve those expectations? You know, One that I can honestly think of is, being able to have time to yourself while you're still spending time with your family. I know for one that a lot of people will kind of like Thanksgiving, they will spend time with their entire family in one place at a time, and that's a lot very difficult for a lot of people because it's sensory overload. There's so many lights, there's so many voices, there's so many noises, Some ways that you could probably keep yourself at bay is find like a little quiet spot, get you some headphones. I know that headphones work for me wonders, or being able to, kind of do some journaling maybe and kind of just find you like I said before, find you a quiet place to kind of catch your breath and get yourself into a better space so you can kind of get your social battery in a better spot. Or you can leave, and come back and make that situation better for yourself so you're not completely overstimulated. Your social battery is at like -2. So what are you guys' thoughts on it?
No, like all of those are really good suggestions and stuff to do in case anybody like gets overwhelmed with anything going on during the holidays. It's always good to have good, healthy coping mechanisms during these times because I feel like a lot of trauma can be involved in holidays too. A lot of things go on, like when families do get together, sometimes it's not that nice. People get into fights and stuff. So always be on the lookout for that and try to just steer clear of situations like that when you're with your family and friends.
We have talked about all of the things that we could do for the holidays, many things of tips and tricks of ways that we can make sure that we stay at a good mental spot for the holidays. And this kind of concludes our episode on the holidays. Thank you, everybody.